AI is going to automate everything. And that is what I was hearing when I was watching a YouTube video long back. And my friend was sitting next to me. And by the end of the video, she asked me, "What does this even mean?" And I paused and I realized this jargon is thrown so many times. People have a vague idea of it, but it does not make a lot of sense to them. She knew what automation is, but she was still not sure what does this even mean and how can this look like. So just for context, automation has been around for a long time now. What does this even mean? It means that when you are taken out of the loop, the task still happens. You don't have to do the task yourself manually. That's the simplest way to put it. To explain this to her, I gave her an example of how this looks like generally, and she has also experienced this, which is when you go and apply for any kind of application online, there is a web page. I showed her a web page that I created, which was an application process to apply to an organization. And after you fill that form, all the information, there's a button at the end, which is the register button. So you click on the register button. And as soon as the person clicks on the register button, an automation gets triggered, which sends an email to the person who registered acknowledging that we have received your application. And this email is just an automation. And when I told her this, she understood that, okay, like something that she has experienced so many times and since long time, so it's nothing. But when you say AI automation, it just means that you include AI in the process of this automation. So as simple as that. And she wanted to understand how does this work. So I gave her an example of one of my clients and told her that one of my clients wanted to work on the content creation mechanism where they create a lot of content on different social media handles, but mostly it's a very manual process where they analyze different posts, analyze different type of content that is in their niche that works for different people, and they want to draw out some inspiration from that. Then they create their own post using ChatGPT, fill that information into a sheet. It is approved by the CEO, then it gets scheduled on the specific social media, and a person is manually doing all of this. So they wanted a system where there should be minimum involvement from a person doing manual tasks, and things should happen automatically because they wanted to increase the amount of content they wanted to churn out. Now let's not get into that conversation of is this right, is that wrong, there's AI slop, all of that. That's not the point. I'm just giving you an example of how automation can look like. So let's stay there. So this was the example. And she asked me, so how do you automate this? And especially using AI. So I told her that we build different databases in their native Notion place that they were using, the Notion app. And one database was about collecting information from different content out there, different people who were posting in the same niche, the structure of their posts, what was doing wrong, the patterns, all of this was stored in one database. And the patterns were generated by AI using a workflow in a tool called N8N. So what it does is it takes information from the Notion database, it runs an automation where you build the prompt inside the N8N workflow, and you have an AI agent built in where the prompt goes into the OpenAI node in a technical term. But what it does is it picks patterns from the Notion database and creates new type of content which is specific to your brand voice, specific to the kind of content that you want to write on the topic that you put in your Notion database, and can create different type of copies for different kind of social media. It can also check these posts for any risk or anything that is not your brand voice. So you can set that up. You can set the guardrail of how it should be approved without somebody actually approving it, if that is also happening via the automated workflow that I was building. And then it posts the content if it is approved on different platforms. Now this was the workflow where when the workflow runs, it takes information from the Notion database, it extracts patterns, it writes different kind of posts depending on what kind of post you want to post on different social media channels, and then it goes for approval. All of this is happening using the workflow, and then it gets posted on different social media. So this is a whole operating mechanism that goes and actually makes a lot of content for you, and that's the complexity that gets attached to these kind of workflows. So then she understood that, okay, so when people are saying AI automation, it could actually look like this. And there are so many tools nowadays that people are using Make, N10, Zapier, all of these automation tools where you can have an AI layer to it and then create workflows and automate a lot of your business processes. I've just given you one example, but there are endless use cases that you can automate using these tools. And there are, of course, more tools coming in. There are creative tools coming in where you can use all of this to reduce the manual work that you do. So yes, I say this with a lot of caution because you need a human intervention somewhere in the process, overlooking the whole process, because what you don't want to do is do something unethical, and that's a separate topic altogether. So yeah, sometimes even businesses do not know what kind of things can be automated. They just learn the language because that's the buzzword that's going everywhere, that, oh, can you automate our process, can you do AI automation? Yeah, but sometimes the businesses do not even need AI automation in a lot of processes, a lot of ways. You really need to first understand what's the process that the business has, explain them what AI automation is, and see if it really works or not. If you are curious about AI automation and what it does, I would ask you to identify one small task in your own life that you would wish that you don't have to do. Of course, some don't tell me that I don't want to clean my house and all of that, but something on the internet, something like a process that you want to change, make it a bit automated. Use that to learn a tool and actually automate that process. So what I would want you to do is comment down below what is that one task that you really want to automate in your work life and don't want to do manually. And let's see if we have tools for that. And I would love all of you to suggest tools to these problems that people put in. So yeah, let's see what all problems we come across.